Time is a river. It flows around us, often unnoticed, measured in the ticking of clocks, the beating of hearts, and the rising of the sun. But in the vast velvet silence of the cosmos, time is measured differently. It is measured in the slow rotation of galaxies, the birth of stars, and the silent drifting journeys of ancient stone. 1 minute ago. 60 seconds. In the time it took for you to take a few breaths, a signal crossed the void. It traveled through the emptiness of space, moving at the speed of light, carrying a message from the dark. It arrived quietly. There were no sirens. There was no panic. There was only the silent hum of a server in a cool, dimly lit room and a line of data appearing on a screen. 1 minute ago, NASA detected something approaching Earth. But to understand this moment, this single fleeting minute, we must slow down. We must step away from the noise of our daily lives, from the rush of traffic and the glow of our phones. We must transport our minds to a place of absolute stillness. Imagine the Mojave Desert. It is night. The air is cool and thin, carrying the scent of dry sagebrush and ancient dust. Above, the sky is a sprawling canvas of diamonds, the Milky Way stretching like a bridge of light across the darkness. Here, standing tall against the horizon, is a massive white dish. This is the Goldstone Deep Space Communications Complex. It is a giant ear listening to the whispers of the universe. The dish is 70 meters wide, a marvel of engineering, yet it stands perfectly still, angled toward a specific point in the sky. It is waiting. It is always waiting. It listens to the faint radio waves emitted by spacecraft billions of miles away. It listens to the echoes of radar bouncing off passing asteroids. 1 minute ago, this dish caught a whisper. The object it detected is not a stranger, it is a neighbor. It is a traveler that has been wandering the solar system for billions of years, long before the first life emerged on Earth, long before the oceans filled, long before the atmosphere settled into the blue blanket we know today. This traveler is a small asteroid, a piece of the primordial puzzle. It is roughly the size of a house, a tumbling, silent shape made of rock and metal, forged in the fires of the early solar nebula. It is dark, reflecting only a tiny fraction of the sunlight that touches it, which is why we are only seeing it now as it draws near. Approaching Earth can sound alarming. It summons images of collision, of fire and impact. But in the language of astronomy, approaching is a gentle term. It means passing by. It means a visit. Think of two ships passing in the middle of a vast, calm ocean in the dead of night. They may be miles apart, unseen to the naked eye, known to each other only by the blips on a radar screen. They approach, they pass, and they drift apart again into the mist. This is what is happening right now, high above your head. The object, let us call it the traveler, is gliding through the vacuum. It is cold, colder than the deepest winter on Earth. Its surface is pockmarked with tiny craters, the scars of 1 billion years of silent collisions with dust and sand. It spins slowly, tumbling end over end, dancing to the silent rhythm of gravity. 1 minute ago, the light reflecting off this tumbling stone reached the sensors of our telescopes. The data flowed down through the atmosphere, invisible and silent. It was caught by the curved mirrors and the radio dishes. It was turned into numbers, coordinates, speed, trajectory. The computers calculated the path. They drew a line through the darkness of the future, and the result was a reassurance. The traveler will pass us safely. It will miss our blue marble by millions of miles, a hair's breadth in cosmic terms, but a vast, safe ocean in human terms. There is something profound about this detection. It reminds us that we are not isolated. We are not sitting in a sealed room. We are living in a busy, active system. The solar system is not empty space. It is a crowded harbor. There are currents of dust, rivers of radiation, and fleets of rocks and ice, all moving in a grand, complex choreography. When NASA detects something approaching, it is like a lighthouse keeper spotting a distant sail on the horizon. It is an acknowledgement of presence. "I see you," the telescope says. "I see you, traveler from the dark. Let us drift out to meet it. Close your eyes and imagine leaving the surface of the Earth. Rise up through the clouds, past the realm of airplanes and birds. Rise until the sky turns from blue to indigo and from indigo to black. You are floating in the silence of low Earth orbit. Below you, the world is a glowing gem, blue and white, spinning slowly. You can see the lights of cities, glowing like embers in a fireplace. You can see the thin, fragile line of the atmosphere, the only shield protecting all of life from the void. Turn away from the Earth now. Look out into the black. Somewhere out there, in the deep shadow, the traveler is moving. It is moving at thousands of miles per hour, yet if you were drifting beside it, it would seem to be hanging motionless. Speed is relative in the void. Without wind to rush past your ears, without trees to blur in your vision, speed becomes a silent mathematical fact rather than a physical sensation. It is peaceful here. There is no sound, no vibration, just the endless starlight and the silent motion of celestial bodies. The traveler has come from the asteroid belt, a vast ring of debris drifting between Mars and Jupiter. Perhaps millions of years ago, it was nudged by the gravity of Jupiter, that giant, benevolent shepherd of the solar system. That nudge changed its path. It sent the stone on a long, elliptical journey inward toward the Sun. It has crossed the orbit of Mars. It has felt the warmth of the Sun growing stronger on its rocky skin. It has seen the Earth as a pale blue dot, growing brighter and larger with each passing decade. And now, 1 minute ago, it has arrived in our neighborhood. This detection is a triumph of stillness. To see something so small, so dark, and so fast requires patience. It requires the ability to stare at the same patch of sky for hours, waiting for a single pixel to move. The astronomers who watch the sky are the sentinels of humanity. But they are not soldiers watching for enemies, they are naturalists watching for wildlife. They are cataloguing the ecosystem of our star system. Every rock they find, every path they map, adds a page to the great book of our history. So, when the notification flashes, asteroid detected, it is not a warning siren, it is a bell of mindfulness. It rings to tell us, look up, look out, there is movement in the dark, we are safe. The atmosphere protects us from the small dust. The vast distances protect us from the large stones. We are cradled in a gravitational sweet spot, protected by the massive bulk of Jupiter and the Moon, spinning in a stable orbit. But for this moment, let us honor the passing of this silent stone. It is a relic of creation. It contains the same atoms that make up the core of our planet. It is a distant cousin, visiting from the cold lands, passing by to warm itself by the fire of our sun before drifting back out into the night. 1 minute ago we saw it, and in seeing it we connected, briefly, with the deep, slow pulse of the universe. As the traveler passes, let us widen our gaze. Let us step back from the single object and look at the medium through which it moves. We often call it space, a word that implies emptiness. We call it a vacuum, implying a void. But to the cosmos, this is not empty. It is an ocean, a vast, dark, silent ocean of night. Just as the oceans on Earth are teeming with currents, drifts, and unseen forces, the space around our planet is alive with invisible energy and matter. When NASA detects an object approaching Earth, they are tracking a vessel moving through this ocean. But what is the water? What is the substance of the void? It is gravity. Gravity is the current of the cosmos. It is the invisible river that guides every star, every planet, and every speck of dust. It is a gentle, relentless force. It does not shout, it pulls. It curves the fabric of space itself, creating slopes and valleys that objects naturally follow. The traveler, that small asteroid we detected moments ago, is not using an engine. It is not burning fuel. It is simply falling. It is falling along the curve of gravity created by the sun. It is surfing the largest wave in the solar system, a wave that takes years to crest. Imagine yourself floating in this gravitational ocean. You are weightless. The heavy chains of Earth's pull have loosened. You are free. Around you, the darkness is not flat. It has depth. It has texture. Every object with mass creates a dimple in this fabric. The Earth creates a deep well, a cozy pocket of gravity that holds the moon on its leash. The Sun creates a massive, sweeping valley that holds all the planets in their orbits. Our approaching visitor is sliding along the edge of Earth's gravity well. It feels the pull of our planet, a gentle tug, like a hand reaching out to graze a shoulder. This tug might alter its path slightly, a gravity assist. The Earth will whisper to the asteroid, changing its trajectory by a fraction of a degree, sending it off onto a new course, perhaps to return in another 100 years, perhaps never to be seen again. This dance happens in total silence. Let us look closer at the space immediately surrounding Earth. We call this near-Earth space. It is a busy region. It is not just the domain of satellites and space stations. It is a dusty place. Every day, Earth is approached not just by large rocks, but by tons of cosmic dust. Micrometeoroids. Tiny grains of sand left over from the tails of comets that passed by centuries ago. NASA detects the big things, the ones that matter for planetary safety. But who detects the dust? Who sees the tiny sparkles that approach Earth every second? You do. If you have ever stood in a dark field and looked up to see a shooting star, you have detected something approaching Earth. That streak of light, that fleeting scratch on the chalkboard of the night, is a grain of cosmic sand hitting the atmosphere at 40,000 miles per hour. It is a violent event, transformed by distance and atmosphere into a moment of pure beauty. The air molecules glow with the heat of the friction, creating a tube of plasma that we see as a shooting star. It is a reminder that the barrier between us and space is soft. The atmosphere is a membrane, permeable to light and heat, but a shield against the stone. As we contemplate the object detected 1 minute ago, we realize that approaching is a relative term. In the scale of the universe, everything is far away. The moon is 250,000 miles away. The sun is 93 million miles away. When an object comes within a few million miles of Earth, astronomers call it a close approach. But this distance is still vast beyond human comprehension. If you could drive a car towards this object at highway speeds, it would take you years to reach it. The fear that often accompanies headlines, "Asteroid approaching," comes from a misunderstanding of scale. The universe is mostly space. The chances of collision are infinitesimally small. It is like 2 grains of sand thrown into the Grand Canyon. The odds of them hitting each other in mid-air are nearly zero. So we can let go of the fear. We can replace it with awe. We can appreciate the precision. The mathematics required to detect these objects is staggering. It is like standing in New York and spotting a specific mosquito flying in Tokyo. Yet, our scientists and engineers do this every day. The Deep Space Network, with its dishes in California, Spain, and Australia, ensures that we are never blind. As the Earth rotates, one dish hands off the duty to the next, passing the baton of observation so that the sky is never unwatched. There is a rhythm to this surveillance, a slow, steady scanning. The telescopes take images of the sky, night after night. Computers overlay these images, looking for the dot that moves against the background of fixed stars. Stars do not move relative to one another over the course of a night. They rise and set together, a fixed tapestry. But the wanderers, the planets, the comets, the asteroids, they possess their own motion. They are the restless ones. When the computer spots a moving dot, it flags it. Here, it says, here is something new. 1 minute ago, that flag was raised. A human being, perhaps sipping coffee in a quiet control room, looked at the data. They checked the orbit. They verified the path. They saw that it was safe. And then, they catalogued it. They gave it a name, likely a string of numbers and letters. 2024. BX1. A license plate for a cosmic vehicle. This act of naming is an act of caring. By tracking these stones, we are extending our awareness outward. We are mapping our backyard. We are becoming responsible citizens of the solar system. Let us return to the object itself. Imagine you are drifting right next to it now. The Sun is a blazing star in the distance, smaller than it looks from Earth, but fiercely bright in the unfiltered vacuum. The sunlight strikes the side of the asteroid, illuminating the grey, dusty surface. It is ancient. This rock has not changed in 4.5 billion years. On Earth, wind and rain and life constantly reshape the surface. Mountains wear down, rivers change course, cities rise and fall. But here, on this lonely traveler, time stands still. The crater on its side was made by a collision 1 billion years ago. The dust clinging to its ridges has been there since the time of the dinosaurs. It is a museum piece, a pristine sample of the dawn of time. If you could touch it, though your hand would freeze instantly, you would be touching the raw material of creation. This is the stuff that Earth was made of. We are standing on a giant collection of asteroids that fused together billions of years ago. We are, in a sense, made of the same material as the visitor passing us by. We are kin. Earth is simply the asteroid that grew up. The asteroid that gathered enough mass to hold an atmosphere, to distill water, to birth life. The traveler is our silent, sleeping brother who never woke up, who never grew warm, who stayed out in the cold, preserving the memory of our shared beginning. So, as it approaches, do not see a threat. See a family member. See a memory. The darkness around it is not empty. It is filled with the solar wind, a stream of charged particles flowing out from the sun. This wind washes over the asteroid, stripping away tiny atoms, weathering it imperceptibly slowly. It is also filled with light. The light of distant stars, the light of the Milky Way, the faint glow of the zodiacal light, dust reflecting the sun in the plane of the solar system. The traveler moves through this cathedral of light and shadow with total indifference. It has no destination. It has no schedule. It only has a path, dictated by the curvature of space, defined by the mass of the sun. It reminds us of the virtual drifting. In our lives, we are obsessed with destinations. We must be somewhere. We must achieve something. We rush from point A to point B, anxious about being late. But the universe does not rush. The universe drifts. The galaxies drift through the intergalactic void. The stars drift around the galactic core. The planets drift in their ellipses. This object, detected 1 minute ago, is a master of drifting. It surrenders completely to the forces around it. It does not fight gravity, it accepts it. It allows the universe to carry it. Perhaps we can learn from this. Perhaps, in this hour of contemplation, we can allow ourselves to drift. We can release the tension in our shoulders. We can unclench our jaws. We can stop steering the ship of our lives for just a moment and let the current take us. We are, after all, on a spaceship. Earth is a ship. We are all passengers on a massive sphere of rock and iron, drifting around a star which is drifting through a galaxy which is drifting through the universe. We are already floating. We are already flying. The detection of the asteroid is just a momentary glance out the window of our spaceship, seeing another vessel passing in the night, reminding us of where we are. We are in the deep. We are in the calm. We are in the embrace of the cosmos. To understand the visitor that passed us 1 minute ago, we must unwind the clock. We must not just go back minutes or days. We must go back before the existence of days. We must return to the time before the Earth had a shape, before the sun had ignited, to the very womb of our celestial history. 4.5 billion years ago. The space where you are sitting now was not empty, but it was not organized. It was a vast, swirling cloud of gas and dust, a nebula, a nursery of stars. It was cold, dark and silent, stretching for light years in every direction. In this cloud, there were grains of diamond, specks of graphite and crystals of ice. These were the seeds of worlds. Gravity, the great sculptor, began its work. It pulled the dust together. Grain by grain, pebble by pebble, the cloud began to collapse. In the center, the pressure grew immense. The heat rose. And suddenly, light. Our sun was born, a fusion engine igniting in the dark, blasting a wind of energy outward. This wind pushed the lighter gases away, leaving the heavy rocks and metals to drift in the inner warmth. This is the era of chaos, a time of violent beauty. Millions of rocks swirled around the infant sun, colliding, merging, shattering. They were like dancers learning their steps, stepping on toes, stumbling until they found their rhythm. The object that NASA detected 1 minute ago was born in this moment. It is a survivor. While its siblings collided to form the Earth, Mars, and Venus, this particular stone escaped. It was not consumed by a growing planet. It was not cast out into the frozen dark of the outer void. It found a quiet pocket of space. It found a hiding place in the asteroid belt. For eons, it drifted there. It witnessed the solar system settling down. It saw the planets sweep their orbits clean, becoming the masters of their lanes. It saw the bombardment of Earth, the rain of comets that brought our oceans, the impacts that tilted our planet to give us seasons. It watched from a distance. It was a silent witness to our entire history. When single-celled life first stirred in the primordial soup of Earth, this rock was floating millions of miles away, turning slowly in the dark. When the first fish crawled onto land, it was there. When the dinosaurs rose to dominance and when they vanished, it was there. When the ice ages came and went, painting the Earth in white and green, it kept its lonely watch. And now, after 4 billion years of solitude, gravity has invited it for a visit. This context changes how we feel about the detection. It is not a random rock thrown at us, it is a time capsule. If we could crack it open, we would find the pristine chemistry of the early solar system. We would find water molecules that have been frozen since the beginning of time. We would find organic compounds, the carbon-based building blocks of life. In a way, this approaching object carries the recipe for us. NASA's detection is not just about planetary defense, it is about archaeology. We are digging in the sky. Every time we spot one of these near-Earth objects, we are cataloging an artifact from the Museum of Creation. The fact that we can see it is a miracle of light. This object produces no light of its own. It is dead stone. But the sun, our shared parent, bathes it in photons. The light hits the grey, cratered surface and bounces off. It travels millions of miles, spreading out, growing fainter and fainter, until a tiny fraction of it enters the aperture of a telescope. That light is old. It took minutes to travel from the rock to us. We are always seeing the past. When we look at the moon, we see it as it was 1 second ago. When we look at the sun, we see it as it was 8 minutes ago. And when we look at this asteroid, we are seeing a ghost of its position. The universe is a hall of mirrors reflecting images across time. As this ancient stone passes Earth, it enters a region teeming with a different kind of evolution. It passes through the sphere of human influence. It passes the geostationary satellites, hanging like jewels in a fixed ring above the equator. It passes the GPS constellations, the weather watchers, the internet beamers. It passes the debris of our own making, spent rocket stages, bolts, paint chips, our own artificial asteroid belt that we are creating. There is a stark contrast here. The natural asteroid is billions of years old, shaped by the slow, grinding forces of nature. The artificial satellites are decades old, shaped by the rapid, frantic ingenuity of humans. The meeting of these two worlds, the ancient rock and the modern machine, is the story of our time. We are the children of the solar system reaching out to touch the parents. We are the dust that woke up, built eyes of glass and metal, and looked back at the dust that remained asleep. This perspective brings a sense of tenderness. We are not fighting the universe, we are trying to understand it. We are trying to map the family tree of the solar system. When the alert comes, 1 minute ago, something was detected. It is a notification that a family member has walked into the room. We turn our heads, we acknowledge them, and we let them pass, continuing their eternal journey around the fire of the sun. The fear of the cosmos often stems from a feeling of vulnerability. We stand on the surface of our world looking up at the open sky, and we feel exposed. There is no roof over our heads. There is only air thinning out into nothingness. But this feeling is an illusion. We are not exposed. We are armored. We are protected by invisible shields of immense power, forces that have guarded life on Earth for billions of years. The first shield is one we rarely think about: the gas giants. Far beyond the orbit of Mars, in the cold outer reaches, reigns the king of planets, Jupiter. It is a colossus, a ball of gas so massive that it could hold 1,300 Earths inside it. Its gravity is a deep, powerful well. Jupiter acts as the gatekeeper of the inner solar system. For billions of years, its gravity has been catching comets and asteroids that fall inward from the dark edges. It swallows them. It flings them out of the solar system entirely. It herds them into stable orbits where they cannot harm us. Without Jupiter, the Earth would be a shooting gallery. But the king stands watch. It takes the blows so we don't have to. The scars of 1,000 impacts are hidden in its swirling cloud storms the size of continents that have raged for centuries. The object that approached us 1 minute ago likely survived because it stayed out of Jupiter's way. Or perhaps it was Jupiter that nudged it onto this safe path, threading the needle between the planets. The second shield is closer to home: the Moon. Our silent silver companion is not just a nightlight, it is a shield bearer. Look at the face of the Moon through binoculars. It is pitted, cratered, scarred. Every one of those pockmarks represents a collision that did not happen to Earth. The Moon has been taking hits for us since the beginning. It orbits us like a guard dog, sweeping its path clear. But the most intimate shield, the one that hugs us tightest, is the atmosphere. We think of air as soft. We move through it easily, we breathe it. But at high speeds, air becomes harder than concrete. When an object from space approaches Earth, it hits the upper atmosphere at tremendous velocity, anywhere from 25,000 to 160,000 miles per hour. At that speed, the air cannot move out of the way fast enough. It compresses. And compression creates heat. Intense, blinding heat. Most of the threats detected by NASA are small. They are the size of beach balls or cars. When they hit our invisible shield, they do not stand a chance. They disintegrate. They turn into streaks of light, vaporizing into harmless dust that slowly drifts down to settle on our rooftops and in our oceans. The Earth is constantly dusting itself with the remnants of these visitors. The object detected 1 minute ago, the one the size of a house, is large enough that it could survive the atmosphere if it were on a collision course. But even then, the atmosphere would fight it. It would break it apart. It would slow it down. It would absorb the energy. But it is not on a collision course. And this brings us to the final, most mathematical shield: probability. Space is big. It is incomprehensibly, staggeringly big. Imagine the Earth as a single grain of sand floating in the middle of a football stadium. Now, imagine another grain of sand, the asteroid thrown randomly into that stadium. The chances of those two grains touching are vanishingly small. The headlines focus on the close approaches. They tell us when a rock comes within 4 million miles. But 4 million miles is a vast distance. It is 16 times the distance to the Moon. NASA's planetary defense systems are not designed to panic us. They are designed to give us the gift of time. If, and it is a big if, we ever detected an object on a true collision course, we would likely know years, perhaps decades in advance. We would not be looking up at a fireball in the sky tomorrow. We would be looking at a dot on a screen, a problem to be solved by the next generation, and we would solve it. We have the technology now to nudge a rock. We have tested it. We have reached out and touched an asteroid, altering its path just enough to turn a hit into a miss. We are the first species in the history of this planet that can protect itself from the stars. The dinosaurs could only look up and wonder. We can look up, calculate, and act. So, the detection from 1 minute ago is a testament to our competence. It is a signal that the watchmen are awake. The radar dishes are spinning, the telescopes are open, we can sleep soundly. As the asteroid fades into the distance, moving away from Earth and back into the deep dark, it leaves us behind. It leaves us in our bubble of blue, protected by giants, shielded by air, and watched over by human ingenuity. The silence returns to the control room. The data stream slows. The object becomes just another entry in the database, another number in the catalogue of the heavens. But the feeling remains, the feeling of connection, the feeling of scale. We are small, yes, but we are aware. And in a universe of blind, tumbling stone, awareness is the most precious thing of all. We have spoken of the object, the traveller of stone. We have spoken of the shield, the armour of the earth. Now, let us speak of the mind that watches. 1 minute ago, a machine detected a signal. But behind that machine was a human intention. For thousands of years, our ancestors looked at the night sky with a mixture of awe and fear. They saw comets as bad omens, swords of fire hanging over kings. They saw eclipses as dragons eating the sun. They felt small, at the mercy of capricious gods who lived in the stars. But today, we have changed the relationship. We no longer look up with fear. We look up with curiosity. We look up with understanding. The detection of this asteroid is a symbol of our maturity as a species. We have moved from being passive observers to active guardians. We have built a network of eyes, optical telescopes on mountain peaks in Hawaii and Chile, radio telescopes in valleys, infrared telescopes floating in the cold vacuum of space. These are the watchers on the wall. They never sleep. When the sun rises in Arizona, the telescopes in the Canary Islands are opening their domes. When the clouds cover the sky in Europe, the radar in Australia is pinging the void. There is a profound comfort in knowing this. While you sleep, while you dream, there are sentinels awake. They are scanning the darkness, measuring the orbits, ensuring that the path ahead is clear. This global effort is one of the few things that truly unites us. The asteroid does not care about borders. It does not care about nations or politics. If it were to touch the atmosphere, it would touch the Earth as a whole. And so, our defense is whole. Data shared between continents, science shared between languages. In the face of the cosmic scale, our differences vanish. We become simply the people of Earth. Let us return to the moment of detection. 1 minute ago, that moment passed without you noticing. You were perhaps drinking water, or turning a page, or closing your eyes, and yet, in that silence, a victory occurred. The victory of knowledge. We know where we are. We are not lost in the dark. We have a map. Think of the early sailors navigating the vast oceans of Earth. They relied on the stars to find their way, but they did not know what the stars were. They sailed into the fog, hoping to avoid the rocks. We are sailing the ocean of space, but we have radar. We have sonar. We have charted the shoals and the reefs. We know where the icebergs drift. This asteroid, this silent visitor, is just a passing ship that we have hailed. Safe journey, we say. Pass in peace. And it does. It continues on its way, moving toward the orbit of Venus, perhaps. It will warm up, releasing a faint tail of gas, before swinging back out toward the cold. It will be lonely again for another century. But for a brief moment, it was seen. It was known. There is a philosophy here, a cosmic stoicism. We accept that we live in a dynamic, moving universe. We accept that there are rocks flying through the dark. We do not deny the danger, but we do not live in fear of it. We prepare, we watch, and then we live. The awareness of the asteroid makes the blue sky look sweeter. It makes the air feel fresher in our lungs. It makes the stability of the ground beneath our feet feel like a gift, not a guarantee. We are riding on a rock that has been safe for millions of years. Life has continued unbroken through ice and fire, through impact and eruption. The chain of life is strong. You are the latest link in that chain. The asteroid passing by is a reminder of your resilience. You are here because your ancestors survived. You are here because the Earth is tough. You are here because the shields held. So, let this knowledge settle into your bones. Let it be a weight that grounds you, rather than a worry that lifts you. You are part of a protected system. You are part of a watchful species. You are safe. And now, the minute has passed, the hour has passed, the Earth has rotated further on its axis. The stars that were in the east are now high overhead. The object is gone. It has crossed the invisible line of closest approach and is now receding. The distance between us and the stone is growing. Every second, it adds miles to the gap. It is fading into the black, becoming smaller, dimmer, quieter. The telescopes have done their job. The computers have logged the data. The alert status returns to green. The quiet hum of the servers continues, ready for the next visitor, the next wanderer. Let us bring our awareness back from the edge of space. Bring your mind back down through the layers of the atmosphere, down through the ionosphere, where the aurora dances in curtains of green and violet, down through the stratosphere where the air is thin and cold. Drift down through the clouds. See them from above, like a vast field of white cotton, illuminated by the moon or the sun. Descend further until you see the lights of your home. You see the streets, the trees, the roof of the building where you rest. You are back. You are here. The vastness of space is still there, just above your head, but it feels different now. It is not a void of terror. It is a blanket of stars that wraps around the world, holding us in. The detection that happened 1 minute ago is now part of history. It is one of billions of events that happen every day in the clockwork of the solar system. The sun will rise tomorrow, just as it has for 4 billion years. The gravity of the Earth will hold you securely to your bed. The atmosphere will breathe for you. You can let go of the vigilance. You do not need to watch the sky. The machines are doing it for you. The scientists are doing it for you. You have permission to rest. As the asteroid drifts away, let your thoughts drift with it. Let them float away into the deep silence. Imagine your worries are like that stone, tumbling, turning, but moving away from you. They are becoming smaller. They are disappearing into the dark. You remain. You remain in the light. You remain in the warmth. The universe is vast and old and mysterious, but it is also orderly. It follows rules. It dances to a rhythm, and you are part of that rhythm. Your heart beats in time with the rotation of the planet. Your breath flows in time with the tides. We are living inside a cosmic void, yes, but we are also living inside a sanctuary, a blue oasis in the desert of night. 1 minute ago, NASA detected something, and now, silence, peace, stillness. The screen is dark, the sky is clear, the traveler has passed. We have watched the visitor arrive, and we have watched it depart. But the story does not end with the passing of a single stone. The story continues into the deep future, into the era where observation becomes stewardship. Let us cast our minds forward. Not 1 minute ago, but 1,000 years from now. Imagine the Earth then. It is still blue, still turning, still wrapped in its blanket of clouds. But the silence above it has changed. The watchers on the wall are no longer just telescopes on mountains. They are out there, among the stones. In this quiet future, humanity has accepted its role. We are no longer just survivors hiding on a planet. We have become the gardeners of the void. The solar system is a wild place, filled with the debris of creation. For billions of years it was a chaotic wilderness where rocks tumbled blindly in the dark. But slowly, gently, we are taming it. We are mapping the wilderness. In this future, every asteroid, every comet, every drifting grain of sand has a name. They are not threats, they are catalogued members of the system. We know their paths as well as we know the currents of our own oceans. And when a stone approaches Earth in that distant time, we do not just watch, we reach out. Imagine a vessel, silent and sleek, moving through the vacuum. It does not carry weapons, it carries gravity. It glides alongside a drifting asteroid, matching its speed, hovering like a hummingbird beside a flower. It does not touch the rock. It simply uses its own mass, a gentle gravitational tug, to whisper to the stone. Move this way, it suggests, just a little to the left. Over months and years, that tiny whisper changes the path of the mountain. The asteroid drifts safely past Earth, guided by the hand of the gardener. This is the future of planetary defense, not explosions, not drama, but a gentle, silent dance of physics, a cosmic ballet where we lead the stones into safe harbors. This vision brings a deep sense of peace. It suggests that chaos is not the final state of the universe. Intelligence brings order. Consciousness brings safety. Just as we learn to build levees to guide the rivers, just as we learn to build roofs to shelter from the rain, we are learning to guide the rivers of gravity and shelter from the rain of stars. We are growing up. The detection that happened 1 minute ago in our present time is the first step of a toddler learning to walk. We are just beginning to open our eyes. We are just beginning to understand the layout of the room. But the potential is there. Written in our DNA is the urge to protect, the urge to nurture. We are extending that urge outward, past the atmosphere, past the moon, into the black. Think of the asteroid belt not as a field of danger, but as a future resource. Those drifting stones are made of iron, nickel, platinum, and water. They are the building blocks of the future. One day, perhaps the descendants of that stone we detected will not pass us by. Perhaps they will be caught gently and used to build new habitats, new stations, new homes in the void. The threat becomes a gift. The danger becomes a tool. This is the alchemy of time. What we fear today, we master tomorrow. What we watch with anxiety today, we will hold with gratitude tomorrow. So, when you hear of an object approaching Earth, do not shrink back. Stand tall. Feel the long thread of history stretching out from you into the future. You are the ancestor of the gardeners. You are the one who started watching. The silence of space is not an empty silence. It is a waiting silence. It is waiting for us to fill it with meaning, with names, and with care. Let us take one final step back. Let us leave the solar system entirely. We have spoken of minutes. We have spoken of years. We have spoken of millennia. But there is a clock that ticks much slower than any of these. The galactic clock. Our sun is not stationary. Just as the Earth orbits the sun orbits the center of the Milky Way galaxy. It is a journey of incomprehensible scale. We are moving at 500,000 miles per hour, dragging the Earth, the planets, and all the asteroids with us. We are a caravan of light moving through the dark forest of the galaxy. It takes the sun 230 million years to complete one orbit. 1 galactic year. The last time we were in this part of the galaxy, dinosaurs were just beginning to appear on Earth. The time before that, life had not yet crawled onto land. The asteroid that we detected 1 minute ago is traveling with us on this great journey. It is not an enemy attacking our ship. It is a passenger in the same cabin. We are all huddled together around the warmth of the sun. Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and the millions of asteroids. We are a family of matter, clinging together as we rush through the interstellar void. This perspective dissolves all fear. How can we be afraid of a stone that is traveling the same path we are? We are all falling through the galaxy together. The approach was just a slight shifting of seats in the cosmic vessel, a neighbor moving a little closer for a moment before settling back. As we conclude this journey, let the feeling of motion settle over you. Not a frantic motion, but a smooth, eternal glide. You are flying. You have always been flying. The chair you sit in, the bed you lie in, they are not still. They are part of the great caravan. You are safe inside the bubble of the solar system, protected by the sun's magnetic field, shielded by the breath of the solar wind. Outside, the stars of the galaxy stream past, too slow to see, but moving nonetheless. 1 minute ago. That minute is now gone. It is lost in the drift. It has been swallowed by the galactic year. Whatever worry you held at the beginning of this hour, let it go. Let it drop into the wake behind us. We are moving too fast to carry heavy things. Focus on the silence of the space between the stars. It is a clean silence, a pure silence. It is the silence of peace. The universe is functioning exactly as it should. The gears are turning smoothly. The gravity is holding. The light is shining. You do not need to do anything. You do not need to steer the planet. You do not need to push the asteroid. The laws of physics are carrying you. You are free to simply be, to simply breathe, to simply watch. The detection screen is blank, the data has been stored, the night is quiet. We are living inside a cosmic void, and we have noticed the beauty, we have noticed the order, we have noticed the safety. And in noticing, we have found our home. Drift on, traveler. The stars are watching over you, just as you watch over them. All is well, all is quiet, all is clear.